Really? You're from Korea? No way. You sound just like a native speaker. Richard jumped up in surprise as I told him I came from South Korea. Yeah, I'm 100% Korean, I answered him, giggling. I had spent hours every day practicing my English. Guess it has paid off. But that was 6 years ago already. I'm Jenny, by the way, and I'm Korean. At the time I was 21, I joined an online English speaking club where I first met Richard, who never in a million years did I think I'd fall in love with. But that's exactly what happened. Ever since that very first class, we started talking every day, and the sparks between us were undeniable. He always mentioned how he wished I could be in the Czech Republic with him, and I found myself daydreaming about our future wedding. Okay, so I was getting ahead of myself, but he was just so amazing. After a month of talking nonstop, I realized I was probably going to fail college if I didn't start setting my priorities straight. But all I could think about was him. And whenever we weren't chatting, I was stalking him on social media. And every time I saw him tagged with another girl, I got so jealous. This couldn't be healthy. I mean, I hadn't even met him in real life, but still, we continued to fall for each other. And he even introduced me to his two best friends, Anastasia and Pavel, via video chat. But not as blossoming as my love life, I was failing miserably at college. I'd always been the one who laughed at my lovesick friends, and now I was no better than them. This wasn't right. Something had to change. So even though it was killing me inside to do this, one night before sitting down on my desk to work on my assignment, I just picked up my phone and blocked his WhatsApp, deactivated my Facebook, and all without letting him know. Yep, I full-on ghosted him. It was such a hard decision, because that night, instead of getting anything done for the assignment, I found myself lying in bed with a tear-soaked pillow. It hurt so much, but I had to think about my future. My parents would kill me if I didn't get a good job. I couldn't let them down. Anyway, Pavel messaged me a few days later saying Richard had gone totally crazy and he'd never seen him this upset before. He barely ate anything and would drink all day. He's not much different from a zombie now. But I stayed unfazed. Bet he'd be okay though. He was young and handsome and girls were always after him. He'd get over me soon. And I'd get over him, right? If only it were that easy. I missed him every single day. Even though we'd been thousands of miles apart, he somehow always made me feel so safe, like he was right there next to me. What had I done? I'd ruined everything. Ugh. Instead of wasting time overthinking, it'd be better to put all my energy into my studies for now, right? And it worked. When graduation came around, I was the top student in my class and even got accepted on an exchange program in Australia. Without even thinking, I texted Richard to tell him the good news. I apologized for disappearing on him and said it had messed with my mind because I hadn't expected to fall for him so hard. I had just needed some time to finish my studies, but now I was ready to reconnect again. Well, he'd seen my messages, but there was no reply. It felt like someone had punched me in the heart. Hours later, he finally replied and said, "Sorry, Jenny, I'll get in touch soon. Now isn't the best time." I couldn't believe the words I was reading. I could actually hear the sound of my heart shattering, but it served me right. I was the one who'd gotten rid of him. He deserved better. But still, I stalked him every day online, and then I realized the only way to solve this would be to fly to the Czech Republic and find him. First, though, I had my exchange program in Australia. I bought a new phone and got a new number for the trip to leave my old one in Korea for my uncle who was always complaining about his outdated phone. Those 3 months in Australia were awesome, and I got my mind off things for a little. I was ready to start fresh when I got back from the trip, until my uncle told me that someone had texted me on my old phone, but because he didn't know English, he didn't know if it was for me or not. I immediately checked it, and there was a message from Richard that said, "Jenny, I'm so sorry for my last message. I miss you so much. Your smile, your eyes, your voice. I hope you can give me another chance. Love, Richard." OMG! Months had passed since he'd sent it, and the worst part of all is that my uncle had read the message, and so it said seen. This was a disaster. Okay, but I had to focus on the positive. He missed me. Maybe it wasn't too late. I tried to call him, but he didn't answer, so I texted him and explained what had happened. He finally replied and said he thought I'd given up on him. I'd never give up on him. We then had a proper phone call. "I am still thinking about you all the time. Why didn't you send me a Facebook message?" The words tumbled out of my mouth in a rush, as if I was afraid I would lose contact with him again in any sec. Suddenly, he went all quiet, and then he told me he'd recently met someone, and that he hoped I'd understand and still want to be friends. I felt devastated. Why was it so hard for us? But in the end, there was no other choice for me. I just wished him well and hung up. All I could do now was move on. It was time to find someone else to date. Clearly, Richard and I weren't meant to be. My heart hurt, but I found a job and threw myself into it, giving it all my attention. Eventually, I got promoted, and after 5 years, I was able to help my parents pay off their debt. I even moved up to a management position. Of course, during this time, I dated a bit, but I couldn't make any of the relationships last. I just missed Richard all the time. I kept dreaming of us spending Christmas together. It was so frustrating. I mean, it had been 5 years, and we hadn't spoken at all. Why couldn't I just get over him? I occasionally went on his Facebook page, but all I could see was his profile pic that remained the same for years. I'd unfriended Anastasia and Pavel, too, so I couldn't stalk them either. For all I knew, he could be someone's husband now. Maybe even a dad. And yet still, I never gave up hope that maybe we'd meet in real life, our paths would cross, and we'd finally get to be together. I couldn't stop thinking about this. And then 3 weeks before Christmas, I got a new following request on Instagram. I couldn't believe it. It was Pavel. And he was now married to Anastasia. This made me so happy. And he told me they were going on their honeymoon to Korea and hoped to see me. OMG, this was so exciting. I desperately wanted to ask him about Richard, but I was terrified to hear that he had kids or something. Anastasia messaged me too and asked how I was doing. I told her I was still single because I worked all the time. Hey, there was no way I could tell her it was because I was still obsessed with Richard. Anyway, the week flew by, and finally I was at the airport awaiting to meet Pavel and Anastasia in real life. They both looked so sweet, and I gave them the biggest hugs. After hugging them, I noticed someone standing behind them. OMG. Was that Richard? What was he doing there? I was so stunned I couldn't move. It was really him. Pavel broke the silence by saying, "We brought Richard along for you, Jenny. Feel free to hit him, bite him, kick him, or whatever you want to do if you think he deserves it." Out of complete shock, I just burst into tears. It had been 6 long years of total silence, and now here he was, looking at me. I asked myself, could I hug him? But I didn't even get a chance to answer my thought because he ran towards me and picked me up in his arms, squeezing me tightly. Then he whispered in my ear, "I'm so sorry, Jenny. Please don't cry. I'm here. I won't leave you. I promise." Could I trust him, though? I was still in shock as I drove them to their hotel, and then again later when I drove to take them out for some Korean food. I was nervous about hanging out with them all, but we seriously had the best night eating, drinking, and laughing. The next day, Pavel and Anastasia would start their honeymoon. So maybe then Richard and I would have some time alone together to talk about whatever was left between us. After dropping them back at their hotel, I was driving away when suddenly I saw Richard running back towards me. He said he wanted to tell me something, so I pulled over and we sat down on a bench to talk. I listened as he told me that over the past 6 years he tried to date other girls, but it never worked out because I was always in the back of his mind. He said he'd spend most of his time working so he could save up to visit me or buy me a ticket so I could come and visit him. It had taken him longer than he'd hoped because his parents had got divorced and he'd been looking after his mom who was super depressed. A few months later, she was diagnosed with cancer, and so he'd had to work even harder to help her pay for treatment. After 3 long years of fighting, she sadly passed away, and ever since then, he'd been feeling so lonely and sad. One day, he asked Pavel to contact me somehow, and when he found out I was still single, he was over the moon and decided it was finally time to come to Korea and see me. He said seeing me in real life had made him fall even more in love with me, which he hadn't thought was even possible. Then he hugged me tight and I couldn't stop crying. We spent Christmas together, just like I always dreamt of. And well, the rest is history. Here I am now, packing my bags to fly to the Czech Republic to see Richard. I can't wait to meet his family. And you'll never believe it, but we're even planning our wedding. The big question is, where do we live? Should I go there, or should he move to Korea? To be honest, it doesn't matter. As long as we're together, it'll be perfect. So it's true what they say. If something is meant to be, it'll be. Even if it takes a year or 6. All I know is that I'm glad I had the patience because I've never been happy.
It was a normal Monday morning. I was standing by my locker when this Layla girl walked over, leaned against the locker next to mine, and talked to me in this sultry voice. "Hi, handsome. Do you have any plans after school?" I looked around in confusion. Was she talking to me? Usually girls like Layla didn't talk to guys like me. I mean, come on, look at her. She's the hottest girl in school. While I'm Felix, just your average-looking nerdy guy. I awkwardly replied, "Oh, hi, I'm just doing my homework after school, bye." Then I left her there, dumbfounded. But it didn't end there. At the end of school, she approached me again and asked, "Do you want to hang out with me?" Followed by a wink. No thanks, I really have to finish my paper on the French Revolution." Then I walked off. Man, did she really want to hang out with me? No way. She must have lost a bet or something. Even on the next day, Layla, one more time, made a beeline for me with this scary, determined look on her face while I was chatting with my friends. And in a serious tone, she said, "Look, Felix, do you want to be my boyfriend?" What? All my friends started to cheer. I was so embarrassed that I shooed them away to get some privacy with Layla. I'm flattered, but no." She scowled at me. "Excuse me? Do you realize that I'm Layla Hall, the prettiest and most popular girl in this entire school? Not to mention a member of the cheerleading team?" Ugh, cheerleaders are so dramatic. I calmly replied, "Sorry, but you're just not my type." She shouted back, "What? I'm everybody's type." I just shrugged and left. My God, that was awkward. But at least she got the hint now, right? Well, wrong. Because that's when the trouble just began. Firstly, it was this flood of junk emails and newsletters. Then strange phone calls from the spa and nail salon, asking if I had made an appointment for the day, which I obviously didn't. On top of that, there's a fake Facebook account that started spreading unflattering pictures of me around, picking my nose in French class, pulling this weird tongue-out concentration face as I checked over my essay. There was even a slow-mo clip of me chewing like a camel as I enjoyed my burger. Man, I was an ugly eater. While I was scrolling through these pics, Layla jumped out at me with a big smirk on her face. "Be my boyfriend, then the pranks'll stop." Right, of course it was her. Didn't she have better things to do? I shook my head and said, "No thanks. This still beats being with an annoying girl like you." Then a few days later, as I walked into school, I noticed that everyone was giving me dirty looks. Was my shirt inside out or something? Nope. So what was the problem? I asked some of my friends and, geez, Layla told everyone that I kissed her, then ghosted her. She's a real-life Harley Quinn. Hot, but totally crazy. Only a lunatic like the Joker could love her. I'd had enough of her antics. I couldn't let her make me look like the bad guy for something I didn't do. So at lunch, I charged over to her table and yelled in her face, "Are you crazy? Why can't you understand that I don't like you?" Then I shouted so everyone could hear me, "Hey, listen, this rumor about me kissing and ghosting Layla is a total lie. She made it all up because I refused to date her. So please, save your dirty looks for someone else. Thank you." Layla shoved past me and ran out of there. Ugh, okay, maybe I was a little harsh. But you'd brought it on yourself, princess. Then during French class, she was absent, but no one knew where she went. Was it maybe because of me? Nah, probably not. But as I was walking home, I spotted her sitting alone on a swing in the playground. Just go, Felix. This girl only brings trouble, I thought to myself. But oh man, she looked so sad. So the next thing I knew, I was walking over and sat on the swing next to her. I asked, "Why weren't you in French class?" "Just leave me alone. Stop pretending you care." "Look." I took a deep breath, then continued. "I'm sorry for yelling at you in front of the whole school. That wasn't cool. But what you did to me wasn't cool either. Shall we call it even?" Layla stayed quiet for a bit, but then she nodded and smiled at me. Well, that wasn't so bad, right? So from then onward, everything was fine between us. She even smiled at me in the hallway. Whenever I saw Layla, this warm feeling came over me, and I couldn't stop grinning. Once, I even spent my entire lunch break trapezing around school just so I could catch a glimpse of her face. Oh boy, I think I've fallen for Layla. But why now? I tried to ignore these feelings, hoping they'd eventually go away. But then Valentine's Day came along, and Layla, being the popular girl she is, received enough roses to open a florist. Ugh, how annoying. I needed to do something. So after school, I went to her house with some chocolates and a teddy bear. As soon as she opened the door, I blurted out, "I know I'm a big dumb idiot. Rejecting you was a huge mistake. Please, will you be my Valentine?" I stood there red-faced and prepared for rejection. But she just snatched the gift out of my hands, then said, "Yeah, okay then." Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Me, your regular nerdy guy, was dating the most popular girl in school. Love is really unpredictable. I was amazed at how open she was to my nerdy stuff. She even watched The Mandalorian with me and cooed whenever she saw Baby Yoda. But the one thing that didn't gel so well between us was, yep, you guessed it, studying. Layla didn't seem to care about her grades, and I didn't want her to fail, so I offered to be her tutor. But she was constantly yawning and staring out of the window whenever we started studying. Felix, I have an idea. Why don't you do my homework for me? In the meantime, I can go to cheerleading practice as we have an important contest coming up, and it means the world to me, just like your math quizzes do to you. What? Was she serious? My God, I hated cheating like this. But she gave me that puppy-eyed look, and me being the sucker I am, I agreed. Thanks, Felix, you're the best. She kissed me on the cheek, then immediately passed me a huge pile of homework. I asked her why she had so much, and she explained that because she didn't understand it, she let them pile up. But hold on, why did she have Spanish? She was in French class with me, not Spanish. But she just shrugged and said her parents forced her to study it outside of school. Oh, my poor little pumpkin. One day, like usual, I stopped by her place to pick up her homework, but she wasn't home. That was odd. Today wasn't cheerleading practice, so where could she be? I looked through the stack that she asked her mom to give me and saw some Spanish worksheets. So I said to her mom, "Oh, she must be in her Spanish lesson, right?" Her mom looked a bit confused, then laughed. You know Layla, she's far too stubborn to agree to extra classes. Huh? So the papers weren't hers? Then whose it was? And why? Suddenly I felt this uncomfortable feeling itching under my skin. I decided to confront her later at school. Then the next day I was walking through the hallway looking for Layla when I suddenly heard some guys cheering, something about getting an A in Spanish. Wait a minute, did he say Spanish? I turned to see who it was, and to my shock it was Hector, the captain of the soccer team. Hector was popular for being all handsome and everything, but also for sucking at school. Someone must have done his homework for him, and you guessed it, yeah. This someone was me. Ah, it all made sense now. Layla and Hector must be a couple. They may have been hot stuff, but they both sucked at studying. So she was using me to do both of their homework. It all made much more sense now. None of this relationship was real. It was all just an act. And no way was I letting them get away with this. I had a perfect plan to expose them. During lunch, I sat down at the table closest to Hector. Then I went into lovey-dovey overload with Layla. I fed her cheese fries, then I stroked her hair and loudly told her how soft it was. I quickly glanced over at Hector for his reaction, but nothing. He seemed more interested in her burger than her. Layla raised an eyebrow at me. Are you okay? You're acting really weird. I laughed loudly, then placed my arms around her, then said, it was actually more like shouting, "Oh, because you're so cute!" But why was there still no reaction from Hector? He and his friends even cheered, and on his way out of the canteen, he gave me a thumbs up. Layla didn't look fazed at all either. Man, somebody call the academy, 'cause these two deserved an Oscar. My plan was a massive fail. Ugh, this was so frustrating. I fell silent, and Layla noticed and gave me this quizzing look. Something is definitely off. You're being really strange. Okay, if she wanted to know, then fine. So I blurted out. I know that the Spanish papers belong to Hector. You're together and you're just using me to do all your homework. I'm not stupid, you know. Nice meeting you, but please don't ever talk to me again. Then I left without saying a word. Well, that's the end of my story. A rather sad one, right? I would be lying if I said I wasn't feeling down about it. I truly do love her. Whatever. I'm going to college in a few months and I'll get to meet a cute, geeky girl who won't trick me into doing some other dude's homework. Sorry guys, someone's calling me. My God, it's Layla. What does she want? We're done. Stop calling. What? Fine. Promise you'll leave me alone after this? Okay, wait, I'm coming downstairs. Oh my God. Layla's at my front door and she insists to not leave unless I have a talk with her. Ugh. Don't move, everyone. I'll tell you every detail as soon as I'm back. Jesus, guys, you won't believe what Layla's just told me. The thing is that her cheerleading team had to practice a lot for upcoming contests, which means they couldn't study as much. Therefore, they had to find someone who was willing to do their homework so their grades wouldn't slip. That's when Layla came up with the plan to win me over as her boyfriend. The flirting, the pranks, they were all part of her plan. That was the truth. But Layla didn't know about the Spanish worksheets because her teammate Harper gave them to her. Turns out Hector is Harper's boyfriend. Didn't see that coming, right? But I was still super mad at Layla because she still used me. Then Layla took out some papers and showed them to me. It was homework with all B's on them. Then she told me, okay, I admit that at first I didn't like you. I only approached you to take advantage of you. But then I actually fell for you as I got to know you better, okay? So I stopped giving you my homework and did it on my own. So, her feelings for me were real too? I couldn't believe it. Eventually I forgave her and now we're happier than ever. I must say, when Layla first talked to me, I thought she was this crazy girl like Harley Quinn, who I could never like. But I was wrong. Turns out I'm the one who's crazy about her. So, I guess I have more in common with the Joker than I first thought.
Why wasn't it working? I followed all the steps, but still, nothing. At that moment, my best friend Harry walked towards me and asked with a confused look, "Hey, what you doing?" "Hey, Harry. I'm just working on this plan to become popular, but it isn't going so well. I changed my style and posted more on social media, but I'm still not cool." You're probably wondering why I was desperately wanting to be popular, right? Well, it's all because of my annoying hiccups. Last year, I was on stage performing the play Our Town when I suddenly started to hiccup, constantly. I couldn't stop, and the whole audience started to laugh at me. In the end, they had to replace me with my understudy. Not only was it the most humiliating moment of my life, but I've also been teased about it ever since. This year, I wanted to become popular. Then everyone would forget about the hiccuping incident. If only becoming popular was easy. "Hey, you could help me." "No way! Your plan is crazy!" At that moment, the new student, Amanda, passed by, surrounded by a bunch of other students. Why is this girl so popular? I mean, she's only been here a week. "You don't know? She's Dustin's sister. He's already the most popular guy in school. So being his sister makes her popular too. Duh." That's it, Harry. The fastest way for me to climb the popularity ladder is to date Dustin. At first, Harry seemed confused by this, but then he suddenly agreed to help me. With one condition, of course, that after I succeeded in becoming Dustin's girlfriend, I had to introduce Amanda to him. I knew it! He had a crush on her. Every guy in the school does. Fine, I'll help him, as I need Harry in this anyway. He plays a crucial role in my plan, and you'll soon figure out why. After school, I was waiting in a corner at the parking lot when Harry walked towards me, followed by Dustin. "I heard you're giving tutor lessons?" "Yeah, that's right. I don't take money. I just need..." "What do you need?" "I need you to pretend to be my boyfriend." Dustin burst out laughing, but then when he saw our serious looks, he stopped. You two are crazy, but I do need to pass math, so... Okay. However, my grades have to improve within 2 weeks. Then we have a deal." "Deal?" I grinned. "Within 2 weeks? That's so easy. What a catch." You must be wondering how we managed to pull that off. Well, Harry's on Dustin's soccer team and overheard the coach tell him if he didn't improve his math grade, he'd be kicked off the team. Basically, we used Dustin's weakness to get the deal. I know I had no chance with him by using my lousy flirting skills, so it's time to use my greatest strength, my brain. Pretty smart, huh? I started to tutor Dustin. Then after 2 weeks, he shot up 2 grades. And that's when he held up his end of the deal and pretended to be my boyfriend. The next day, Dustin and I held hands and walked into school. And just as I expected, everybody was gawping at us. I even heard them whisper about me, "Is that the hiccup girl with Dustin?" And, "Whoa, since when were those two a thing?" Ha! And that's not all. Wherever I went, people would follow me. And in every class, everyone wanted to sit next to me. Finally, I was popular, and I loved it. I just finished tutoring Dustin at his house and was about to head home when his mom appeared and invited me to stay for dinner. Awkward, but I didn't want to be rude, so I said yes. Besides, this was a great opportunity to talk to Amanda. I was sitting next to Dustin at the dinner table when Amanda walked in and gave me a dirty look. What is she doing here? Amanda, manners! Okay, had I upset her somehow? After we finished eating, I helped Amanda clean up. I pulled some homemade chocolate cookies out of my bag and gave my friendliest smile as I said, my friend Harry, he likes you. I was wondering if... Without letting me finish my sentence, Amanda interrupted me. Sorry, let me stop you right there. First, I don't eat cookies. Gross. Second, I assume you're asking me if I want to go out with your friend, right? No, because he's a loser just like you. It's embarrassing enough that Dustin is dating you. Then she walked off, leaving me standing there dumbfounded. Oh my god, couldn't believe what I just heard. How could a person be so rude? Ugh. The next day at school, I wanted to tell Harry to give up on Amanda, but as soon as I caught sight of him, he ran towards me, hugged me, and said, "Emily, you're a matchmaking genius! Thank you!" Huh? What do you mean by that? Amanda just asked me if I wanted to come to her party this weekend. Isn't that great? Yay! What on earth was going on? But Harry looked so happy that I just couldn't tell him the truth. One thing's for sure, there's something sus about Amanda. Of course, I was going to that party too, 'cause I was Dustin's girlfriend, remember? Wow, we were actually at a cool kids party. Our first time ever. This was awesome. Harry even got a bit emotional. What a baby. Dustin and I teamed up to play beer pong, and it was so much fun, and unexpectedly, we won! We were so excited, and both of us cheered with joy and hugged each other without thinking. Oops, didn't see that coming. But what happened next was even crazier. Everybody started to cheer, kiss, kiss, kiss. Oh boy, they couldn't be serious, right? I just laughed it off and hoped everyone would stop. But no, they just kept cheering on. Suddenly, Dustin grabbed my face and kissed me right on the lips. I didn't push him away. Oh no, instead, I closed my eyes and got carried away. I even lifted up one leg. Oh, and FYI, that was my first kiss. After that, we both turned bright red and avoided eye contact. Ugh, my whole body felt hot like I was having a fever or something. Anyway, the party was everything I dreamed of and more. The next day, Harry and I arrived at school in a super good mood. But suddenly, we saw a bunch of students gathering around someone. We squished through the crowd and saw Amanda crying. Turns out, somebody from the party had stolen 2 of her mom's Fabergé eggs. Then, one of Amanda's friends suggested checking all backpacks and lockers of everyone who went to the party last night. But the chances are low. The culprit must have been able to hide all the evidence by now. Still, we should try everything we can, right? I couldn't bear seeing Amanda crying her eyes out like this. Then he gently patted her shoulder. Hey, that was smooth. Way to go, Harry. And so, we checked a few people's belongings, and still nothing was found. Then it was Harry's turn. He opened the locker and, oh my god, one of the Fabergé eggs was in there. But how? He would never do such a thing. I opened my locker and, what? There was the other one! What on earth was going on? Suddenly, Amanda started shouting at us. I knew it was you two! Hey everybody, Emily over here manipulated Dustin by using his weaknesses, his love of soccer and his dislike for math. Then she forced him to pretend to be her boyfriend just so she could be cool. Everybody started glaring at me like I was the villain, but I wasn't. There was a misunderstanding. I looked over to Dustin for help, but he just avoided my gaze, then walked off. I didn't know what to do, so I just stood there in shock until Harry dragged me off with him. Well, after that, I was more popular than ever. I was now known as the girl who took advantage of a guy to get popular and then stole from him. Worse, Amanda wouldn't listen to me. Harry and I were clearly framed. I wish I could go back to my normal life before I made that stupid deal with Dustin. Oh, but then that kiss wouldn't have happened. Oh boy, might I have fallen for Dustin? Then suddenly I got a text from Amanda. It was a clip from the recent party with the message, "You're nothing to Dustin." Why are you dating this loser? Wasn't she the girl who hiccuped during the play? I will use her until the end of this semester. Oh my, I couldn't believe he said that. I knew he didn't like me in the way I liked him, but did he have to be so mean? The clip automatically replayed again. Ugh, watching this one time was bad enough. But wait, there was a detail in the clip that caught my attention. I rewound it and, oh my god, there were the 2 missing Fabergé eggs. The clip was recorded at midnight, but Harry and I left the party way before then. I quickly rushed over to Dustin and Amanda's house and showed them the video. I don't remember you both leaving earlier. What if you're lying? Well, I noticed your front door has cameras. If you want, we could check them. Dustin turned to Amanda and confusingly asked, Did you put those eggs in Emily and Harry's lockers? Amanda said nothing, but her head down said it all. But why would you do that? Emily didn't do anything wrong. Because I don't like her being your girlfriend. I like you. What? Isn't she his sister? Oh, turns out they aren't actually siblings. Whew, that would have been weird. The truth is their parents were really close, and when Amanda's parents died in an accident, Dustin's family took her in. So Amanda was like a sister to Dustin, but Amanda, on the other hand, has been in love with him for a long time. I decided not to make a big deal out of it. As long as she posted a status on social media saying this was all a misunderstanding and that we didn't steal from her, and she reluctantly agreed. Afterward, I immediately got out of there without saying anything else to Dustin, but he ran after me and apologized for not defending me the other day. He just couldn't choose between me and Amanda. And then he said, That clip you saw wasn't what you think. Ugh. What's there not to understand? It was so obvious. Then what is it? Please tell me. But Dustin just stood there silent and stared down at his sneakers. Just like I thought. There's nothing else to explain, so I stormed off. The next day, Amanda posted the status and our names were finally cleared. My life is back to being boring, but it's okay, as I now know that being popular isn't what brings me happiness. Oh, and about me and Dustin? Well, a few days later, he sent me a video. It was the same clip from the party. At first, this frustrated me. I mean, why would he make me endure watching that again? But then I noticed that this clip was longer, so out of curiosity, I pressed play. And you won't believe what happened in the second half of that video. After the part where Dustin said he just wanted to use me, everybody teased him more. He got angry and yelled. Yes, Emily is weird, but weird in a good way. I like the way she smells books every time she opens one, and the cute way she gets embarrassed when she sneezes loudly. And do you know what I like most about her? That she hiccups every time she's nervous. You heard me right. I like her. You see? Dustin likes me too. Amanda cut this part of the video out on purpose so I'd misjudge him. But now that I knew the truth, what do you think I did? Yeah, of course I forgave him. I mean, how couldn't I?
So, who knows the answer to this? The teacher asked. The whole class was silent as they looked down at their desks and scratched their heads. Suddenly a hand was raised. Yes, it was me. Just me. In fact, physics was my forte subject, so the question on the board didn't baffle me, so I gave an in-depth answer. The teacher looked surprised, then she smiled at me and said, It looks like we have a budding Einstein in our midst. All this praise was a little embarrassing. Also, I noticed that all the girls in the class were looking at me with admiring eyes. Meanwhile, I overheard one boy whisper, Where did this robot come from? I unconsciously glanced over at Vivian. She was sitting in the corner of the classroom and even she was gawping over at me. Meeting my gaze, she immediately pouted and looked away. For the rest of the day, I continued to impress my teachers and classmates. In English Lit, I recited a verse from Twelfth Night. And in math, I wrote down the formula for pi on the board. Hey, being smart has its highlights, and it was good to get recognition for my brains. I'd already been recruited into both the physics club and the quiz team. Hey, turned out this new school was not that bad. I'm Easton, and if you haven't seen part 1 of my story, I advise you to go and check it out. So, I'm only at this elite school because my sister Grace is marrying an older rich man named Owen. Then there's Vivian, Owen's daughter. I haven't quite worked her out yet, but she seems like trouble. As the first days went, mine was a success, so I was grinning as I walked toward the bus stop. Suddenly a girl caught up with me and patted me on the shoulder. Hey, I'm Lila. We're in the same class. Hi, Lila. I'm Easton. I smiled at her. You're so good at well, everything, she giggled. So, I like physics too. I think we should study together sometime. She chewed on her lip as she twizzled a strand of her hair around her finger. Yes, sure. Suddenly a nudge distracted me. Vivian. She swaggered past us, then looked back at me and pouted. Seeing this, Lila rolled her eyes and tutted out, "That girl is such a nuisance. I'd recommend you steer clear of the likes of her." I nodded at Lila's words, but kept my eyes on Vivian. At that moment, bump. Vivian, with her head so high, striking her arrogant walk, had crashed straight into some nerd who was walking while looking at his phone. I winced as I watched her fall on top of him, and his phone flung away and smashed as it hit the ground. She blushed and scrambled to get up, frantically took out the money from her wallet and stuffed it into the boy's hand and hurried away. Huh? What an obnoxious girl, Lila snarked. Thinking daddy's money solves everything? How ignorant. Sigh. I can only give her a shrug hearing those words, then quickly made my excuses about having to catch my bus. That night, I was watching Mythbusters on TV in the living room when I suddenly saw Grace running out of the bathroom screaming. Her skin had these red patches all over it, and she was crying out how there were dog hairs on her towel. At that moment, Vivian passed us. She looked Grace up and down, then smirked and said, "Oh my, our model looks like a lobster today." Grace was so angry that she somehow managed to turn even redder. "Vivian, you dare? Just you wait." After that, Grace burst into the office and dragged Owen into the living room. Oh man, it was really serious this time. "Owen, look at me. I'm hideous and it's down to that spiteful child." She pointed at a still smirking Vivian. "These tricks of hers are unacceptable." She shook her arm vigorously, then stomped her feet on the floor. Owen frowned at Vivian, but she didn't show any guilt. Instead, she just shrugged and said, "I have no idea what she's talking about." The atmosphere in the house was so tense that I literally couldn't breathe. Seeing this, Grace continued, "Honey, it's time we sent her to boarding school. The teachers there will be better equipped to manage her and help her change." Owen listened attentively, then nodded. Vivian's smirk dropped, and she glared at Grace, then turned to Owen and said harshly, "Dad, why do you always listen to her? She's just an outsider. I'm your daughter." "Okay, let's take it slow. I'll see what's the best for you." Then he turned to Grace and said softly, "Come on, darling, let's go get you some medicine." Then he led Grace to their bedroom. I thought that the threat of boarding school would change Vivian, but no. It only seemed to entice her more. One day during dinner, Owen's phone rang. He went out of the room to answer it, and when he returned, his face was all scrunched up in anger. Then he slammed his fist on the table. "Vivian, you're causing trouble again? How dare you break in and steal stuff from the chemistry lab?" I really have no words." She didn't respond, still focused on her plate, which drove Owen even madder. He shouted, "Your teacher said if you make any more minor mistakes, they'll expel you. Is that what you want?" "Oh my God, expelled from school? That would bring shame to our family," Grace added. Vivian glared at Grace, but she still continued. "I did tell you to send her to boarding school, but you refused." Then suddenly her eyes lit up as if she had just come up with some crazy idea. Then she turned to look at me with a smile that sent chills down my spine. "Ah, I know. Easton's a top student, and he's in most of Vivian's classes, isn't he? So he can supervise her. Maybe there will be good results." "What? No way!" Vivian and I shouted in unison. While I was silently cursing Grace's crazy idea, Owen seemed quite amused by it. "Yeah, that sounds good." "No way! Who the hell is he to monitor me?" "Well, if you don't like it, then I suggest you go up to your room and start packing for boarding school." Vivian didn't say anything else, just sulked and stormed back to her room. Owen shook his head wearily. then told me to go have a little talk with him in his office. Easton, please help me keep an eye on Vivian. Honestly, I don't want to send her away to a boarding school, but I can't sit around and wait for her to be expelled either. This put me in a dilemma here. I didn't want any involvement with this stubborn girl, but I couldn't say no to Owen. Seeing me hesitate, he continued, Please, she's a good kid. She's just had a tough time and she's so angry at everything. She's so angry at me. And yeah, you guess it, I gave in and agreed to help him. Then he immediately listed off a series of tasks. Don't let Vivian get anything lower than a C. Don't let her hang out with any bad friends, including Carter, her current unpleasant boyfriend. Follow her closely and don't let her break any school rules. Make sure she takes studying seriously for once. These sounded simple, right? For normal people, maybe, but Vivian was far from normal. Instead, she was troublesome, cunning, and uncooperative. I had no idea how I was going to convince a rebel like Vivian to abide by any of these rules. But I'd told Owen I'd help. So now I had to stick to my word. So from then on, I officially became Vivian's tutor and butler. I had to tutor her every day, keep an eye on her 24/7, and of course, put up with her mischievous pranks to escape my management. Please, focus! Why do you keep on staring out the window and daydreaming when the exams are right around the corner? I got really mad at Vivian. I don't want to, but I have a headache, so I just can't concentrate. She wasn't fooling me with that fake pity face. I immediately pulled a tablet of aspirin out of my shirt pocket and tossed my head to signal her to take it so that she could keep studying. Vivian was dumbfounded, picked up her pen, and started doing the homework. But within just less than 5 minutes, she turned to me and asked, Hey, Easton, do you like playing games? I flipped the pages of the book and reluctantly said yes. Clearly, she was just waiting for that, as she immediately took out her Nintendo Switch, excitedly gave it to me and said, So you can play this, and I'll sleep for a bit. I stayed up so late last night watching movies. When the time's up, just tell my dad that we finished studying. Before I can say anything, she'd already jumped onto her bed and wrapped herself in blanket. Ugh, so frustrating. But then an idea popped in my head. Well, then let's change the learning method. Language shower. How does that sound? Then I reached for the mini speaker on the table, played a Spanish audio lesson at the highest volume, and placed it right by her ears. She quickly covered her head with a pillow, but I didn't give up and continued pushing the speaker close. After rolling around in bed for a while, she finally admitted defeat, and with a frowning face, went back over to the desk and said, Okay, just stop this crazy torture right away, please. You want me to sit here and study, right? I folded my arms and smiled smugly. Ha! This girl is not that hard to handle. I didn't share Vivian's carefree attitude. Instead, I was so anxious that she would fail her exams and I'd get the blame. I even had to beg her, Hey, please, focus on studying literature, please. If you get an F, then I will be dead meat. Huh? That's none of my business, Vivian sneered. I desperately passed her my essay. Here, I've already prepared this for your reference. You just have to memorize it. She quickly scanned it once, then dropped it down on the table and replied, Nah, you can learn it by yourself. I have better things to do. Helplessly, I picked up the essay and read it out loud. I read it again and again, with the hope that while she was polishing her nails, she could remember a few sentences. At first, Vivian seemed annoyed, but then she giggled and said, Okay, let me learn on my own. Your poor face looks so funny. What a miracle! She actually started reading through the notes, but to be honest, I didn't expect much. But you know what? The most unexpected thing happened. When we were standing outside of the school gates, she showed me her exam results. B's and C's, and not one D. Man, this felt even better than when I got an A+. Well, almost. I was about to congratulate her when I heard someone shout her name. Then I turned around to see some kids walking over to her. Oh no. Were these the bad influences Owen told me to keep her away from?
These need to be washed by hand. Kelly threw a pile of clothes on the floor. And be quick about it! Hey, I'm Maya, and that bossy girl is Kelly. Although we live in the same house, we aren't siblings. You see, when I was just a baby, I was adopted by a loving old couple. They lived on a farm in the countryside. Their kids had grown up and left home, and they were both missing the lively energy that only a child could bring. One Sunday at church, they saw the priest raising a baby girl and offered to help. So that's how they ended up taking me home and bringing me up as their grandchild. They were the nicest people, and they showered me in nothing but love and kindness. I'm always more than grateful for them. We lived together happily until one day, when Grandpa was in the orchard, he collapsed. Sadly, he passed away. Grandma was never the same after that. She'd lost her soulmate. Her health also deteriorated, and then one night she called me into her room, and gripping my hand, she said, "Sweetie, you brought so much joy into our lives. Without us, life could be tough. But don't worry, we're always with you. When I'm gone, go find my old purse hidden in the broken tractor in the back barn. We've saved up a little bit for you. Our little Maya have to live your best life. All right?" Then, before I could ask her any more about this, she closed her eyes, and just like that, she'd left me forever. I stayed with her for hours, crying my heart out. Afterward, following Grandma's words, I went in search of the money. Oh, God! I gasped in shock as I opened the purse. There was at least $20,000 here. How did my grandparents manage to save up such an amount of money? I knew they were thrifty, but this was way too much. After that, I moved to Columbus to live with my grandparents' daughter, Mrs. Madison, and her daughter, Kelly. So you're wondering what I did with the money, right? Well, I keep it hidden here, in this crack in the roof. Oh, someone's coming. Your room is disgusting. Anyway, Kelly and I are going out, so make sure you clean everywhere before we get back. I expect it to be spotless. I gave a weak nod and watched her totter away. This wasn't a new occurrence. Every day, they'd mess up the house, then force me to clean it. I know, I was basically the real-life Cinderella. But it's okay. As soon as I turned 18, I'm gonna leave this place anyway and start living my own life with my money. The next morning, it was raining, so I tried to walk to school as fast as possible, when suddenly, Kelly drove past me and deliberately sped through this big puddle. Mud splattered all over me. Jeez, why is torturing me her favorite hobby? My shirt was filthy, and as I walked toward my locker, some girls laughed at me. One even sneered. The dirty look must be trendy in the countryside, but here it just looks tragic. Yeah, I've been in the city for almost a year now, but I still couldn't fit in. Maybe it's because I always wear the same worn-out clothes and borrow all my books from the library. Mrs. Madison refused to buy me anything new, and I couldn't use my own money, as that would look suspicious. I couldn't even afford to go on the school picnic. I'd never be one of them. Then, during recess, the class monitor, Josie, informed everyone that prom was happening soon, and the dress code was formal. While all the other kids squealed and clapped excitedly, I lowered my head and sighed. I had nothing to wear to prom. Maya? Hearing my name broke me from my thoughts, and I realized it was Josie, and standing around her were some of the nice girls from class. You have to come to prom this time, please. You've never joined us in any other activities before. Don't worry, we will help you look spectacular. I gave an awkward smile and replied, "Thanks, guys, but I can't expect you to do that." They all insisted that I should go, but I remained adamant that it wasn't my kind of thing. Then came Meanie Kelly. Maya isn't suitable for this type of event. How dare she say that? I mean, just because I wasn't a spoiled princess didn't mean I wasn't suitable to attend. So I turned to Josie and smiled. Actually, that sounds fun. I will go to the prom. That evening at dinner, I mentioned the prom to Mrs. Madison and suggested that it could be a reward in exchange for doing all the housework. She coldly replied, "You live under my roof rent-free, and now you expect me to do housework for you too? Or what, Your Majesty?" Then she turned to Kelly, smiled, and asked, "Darling, have you decided on a prom dress yet?" Then Kelly showed her mom pictures of gorgeous dresses on her phone while throwing smirks at me. Ugh! I couldn't sit around looking at Kelly's smug face anymore. This time, I definitely had to go to prom and be prettier than her. So that weekend, I went thrift store shopping with Josie, and after looking in about a dozen stores, Josie lifted up this really pretty blue gown. It had a tear down the side, but I knew I could easily sew that up and thrift flip it a little. I'd seen people do that on YouTube. The night of the prom, Josie did my hair and makeup, and I showed up in the dress. I felt like a real-life princess, and everyone was looking at me and giving me compliments, while Kelly stood there with her arms folded and a sulky look on her face. And then this boy called David walked over to me and started talking. Turns out, he was the new senior here. All the girls had their eyes on him, including Kelly, who walked over and tried offering him a drink, but he snubbed her and continued talking to me, leaving her standing there in silent anger before storming out of the prom. I had such a wonderful night with my new friends. I arrived home in a great mood and was happily singing to myself. But this instantly changed when I saw Kelly sitting there waiting for me. Such a thief! Now, don't tell me this fancy dress just fell down on you from the sky! Kelly shouted at me. I insisted that I hadn't stolen anything, so she dragged Mrs. Madison to the living room and asked her to check if she had lost any money recently. Mrs. Madison said no without thinking at first, but when she read Kelly's face, she started to fake complaining about some $100 bills missing from her purse, and the two started to jump on me. Ugh! Unbelievable! I ran up to my room and tried to shake away the negative thoughts and think back to how happy I was at prom. Then, as usual, I checked my hiding spot. Huh? What was that noise? I looked towards the stairs, but no one was there. It was probably just the house creaking or something. The next day at school was amazing, as loads of kids stopped and talked to me. Then, when I got home, I went up to my room and double-checked my hiding spot. My heart plummeted in my chest. The purse! It had gone! I frantically searched for it. Then I remembered hearing something last night, and there were only 3 of us in this house. Could it be? Furious, I ran into the living room where Mrs. Madison and Kelly were watching TV. I shouted at them, "My money! I want it back right now!" In an unconcerned tone, Mrs. Madison replied, "What money? What are you talking about? Oh, I see. So you have your own money all along and have been keeping it for yourself?" Poof! What an ungrateful brat! Mom lets you live here even though you aren't actually family, and now you're accusing us of stealing? I knew they'd taken my money, but what could I do about it? I had no choice but to go back to my room and cried as I looked at old photos of me with my grandparents. The next day at school, I really wasn't in the mood for lessons. During recess, I was just staring out of the window in despair when I heard a cough, so I looked and saw David there. "Hey, Maya." He smiled at me. "Are you okay? You seem kinda down." "I'm fine." I gathered up my stuff and left. I know he was only being nice, but I wasn't feeling like small-talking right now. Then, after school, Kelly made me carry her heavy backpack home. I had no energy left to argue, so I glumly did as she asked. That's when David drove up alongside me and asked, "Hey, that looks heavy. Do you need a lift?" I nodded and got into his car while forcing a smile to thank him. He asked,
Maya, what's up? You can talk to me, you know. I'm a good listener. Promise.
He's so sweet, and I instantly felt safe around him. We chatted a lot and started hanging out more and more after that. We took walks through the park and had lunch together. I found myself growing closer to him, but not in the way you might think. No, more like a brother. Then, a few weeks later, when Mrs. Madison made me clean up the mess in the house that she'd made again, I found something under her bed. The old purse that Grandma had left me. And the money was all gone! I stormed downstairs and slammed the purse onto the kitchen table, but Mrs. Madison shrugged.
It was my mother's purse. Therefore, that money belongs to me. You obviously stole it from my poor elderly parents.
Kelly backed up her mom with her annoying tone. Wow, how low do you have to be to con a sick old lady into giving you her life savings? Grandma left it for me, not you! You two are monsters! I screamed at them, took the purse, and went up to my room. I started to pack, then I was leaving here once and for all. Only, when I went to try the door, I couldn't open it. OMG, they'd locked me in! Worse still, in all the drama, I'd left my phone downstairs, so I couldn't even call David for help. The next day, Mrs. Madison let me out, but only on the condition that I did all the housework, and from now on, I wasn't allowed to go to school or anything like that. And if I broke this rule, she'd make sure I ended up in trouble for stealing the money. So, it is what it is. I had no choice. They've got me on a string. One afternoon, I was out front watering the flowers when Mrs. Madison shouted out from the living room.
No! Not the roses! Water the ones over there! You useless girl!
Then suddenly, I felt someone yank my arm. It's David. He was worried about my absence, so he came to check on me.
Maya, there's someone I want you to meet.
Then he signaled me to follow him. I had no idea where David was taking me, but anything would be a way better option than listening to any more of Mrs. Harrison's nagging, so I got in his car. He took me to his house, and there was this man in there. I suppose it's David's dad, but then, with tear-filled eyes, the man blurted out,
Maya, it's you, my daughter. You're finally home.
Huh? What? So, after I sat down and had a sip of water to brace myself for whatever was about to come, the two told me about how when I was a baby, my mom got sick and passed away. My dad struggled to look after me and my brother, so he gave me to a priest. Eventually, my dad managed to turn his life around, and knowing that I'd been adopted by the elderly couple, he started sending money to them to help them raise me. Then, when he came to find me, I wasn't there anymore. He found out that I was living with the daughter of an elderly couple in Columbus, so he moved to this city with the hope of finding me. It was such a coincidence that David ended up attending the same school as me. David said that the first time he saw me, he felt this strange bond right away, and how amazing that this gut feeling was right, as it soon became clear I was his long-lost sister. Wow, this was a lot to take in, but it was the greatest news ever. I left Mrs. Madison's house after that, of course, and moved in with my dad and brother. And for the first time since I'd lost my grandparents, I found myself feeling truly happy again. Now, you're probably wondering what became of Mrs. Madison and Kelly. Well, I was walking past their house the other day and saw a for sale sign in the yard. Turns out, Mrs. Madison had been spending money like water, and now was in debt, so she was having to sell the house. I don't want to gloat or anything, but I guess that's karma for them.
Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to show you how to draw perfect eyebrows. So, hey everyone, I'm such a doo-doo head. Get out of here! Mom, Drew is interrupting my live session! Mom, Drew is interrupting my life. Mom! Oh my god, enough with the screaming! Drew, get out! Mimi, enough scream time for the day. Turn it off. But Mom! I am too tired for this. Turn it off. Okay, guys, goodbye. Hey, guys, my name is Mimi, and my life sucks. I have 9 siblings. Yep, you heard me. 9 siblings, living in the same house and sharing my parents. My parents don't even remember to keep tabs on all of us most of the time. There are just too many kids. In all my life, I've tried to stand out. But you have no idea how hard it is to stand out when you have 9 siblings. Nothing you do is ever special enough. Like when I was 5, I got really into painting, and one day I made the most incredible painting. Mom, Dad, look what I made! Wow, that is so beautiful! Reminds me of the painting your sister made years ago.
I guess we have 2 painters in the house now.
What? No! My parents' half-hearted reaction only made me more determined to do something truly impressive. Then I took up dancing. Mom, look at my moves! Wow, you're such a great dancer! Is she? Check me out! Well, I stand corrected. You are both great dancers. No! At that point, I gave up on finding my own thing and standing out. I just faded into the background, and I eventually learned to live with the noise and chaos. Or so I thought. By the time I got to middle school, I didn't think it bothered me anymore until one day when I was 15, that changed everything. The day started really ordinary. I woke up, got ready for school, and got dropped off with my siblings. In the middle of 4th period, we heard a loud, scary tumbling noise. Our school's foundation was rumbling. Feels like an earthquake. Quick, everyone gets under the desks and drop to your hands and knees. That was the scariest thing I had ever gone through. My heart kept beating like a train engine. Fortunately, the shaking passed quickly, but school was canceled and our parents were called to pick us up. I waited outside for hours, but my parents didn't show up. That's odd. I couldn't even find my siblings. Then I started to walk home, scared that something had happened to them. But when I got home, I saw the most shocking thing. My family was seated at the table, having dinner without me. Hey, doo-doo head, where were you? What? What do you mean? I was at school, waiting for Mom and Dad. What? Oh my God. Did you guys forget about me? Like, no one knew that I wasn't home?
Honey, you know today was hectic. We thought...
You forgot about me! You know, I've always known that you guys don't care about me. But this is just... Mimi, I am so sorry. But you know that's not true. I hate my life so much. I hate all of you. I wish I was an only child. I ran outside. I didn't know where I was going, but I just couldn't spend another minute looking at the dinner table set without me. It hurt so much that I just kept running. Ran as fast as I could until sweat soaked through my shirt. I stopped to catch my breath, and then I saw it. There was a neon light in front of a store that said, "We can help you experience the life you've always wished for." It felt like a glimpse of hope. Maybe it could fix all the mess I was going through. Without a second thought, I stepped into that mysterious store. The store's atmosphere completely overwhelmed me. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before. It felt more like a lab, with a man wearing a white coat.
Welcome to our research lab.
What is this place?
This is a virtual reality research facility. We are conducting research. When you step into our pods, the system analyzes your thoughts and generates a personalized reality that is exactly the life you want.
Wow, sign me up! I want in!
That's lovely, but you're a child. We need your parents' consent.
I don't have a family that cares.
In that case, step in.
Immediately, I stepped into this massive pod that looked like a spaceship, and I got hooked up with a helmet and cool glasses.
All right, Mimi, when you open your eyes, you will be in a world where all your dreams come true.
Just seconds before falling asleep, my mind was flooded with thoughts. The chaos of my life, the neglect from my parents, and my annoying siblings. I wasn't even sure if this experiment would work, but honestly, I didn't care. I just wanted to escape it all. Then, I drifted off. Wake up, darling. Time for breakfast. I made your favorite. What? I woke up and got dressed. Then I went downstairs to a perfectly set breakfast table. Just my parents and me. Sweetie, do you want the extra egg? That's silly. Just take it. You're a growing girl.
Our perfect growing angel.
Hello, everyone. My name's Mimi, and my life is perfect. I am an only child, and my parents are the best in the world. They love me so much and would do anything for me. When I was a child, one day I got a cold in school. My mom was so worried she quit her job to stay home and take care of me. I started being homeschooled from that day. After our lessons every day, my mom and I would do whatever I wanted. So, sweetheart, what are we going to do today? I'm craving froyo. Can we get froyo? Anything for my angel. At the froyo stand, while waiting in line to order, we saw a family with 10 children. They were so loud and rowdy. I couldn't imagine what that kind of life would look like. My God, can you imagine having 9 siblings? So much noise. Gosh, I'm so glad that I'm an only child. Exactly, sweetheart. How could they care for so many kids properly? Sure, I am an only child, so my parents always looked after me closely. But to be honest, their attention could feel a little suffocating at times. Don't get me wrong, I loved my life, but sometimes it got quite lonely. They never let me out of their sight, so I never had any friends. Mom, the neighbors invited me to a birthday party. Can I go? God, no! All those children! Who knows if they're carrying germs?
Honey, want to watch a movie on Netflix? We could watch it and have popcorn.
But I've seen this movie a million times. Well, buckle up to see it for the 1,000,001 time. Ugh, it was so frustrating having them hover over me all the time. Hello, my name's Mimi. What's yours? What? Get away from that window! Get away from my child! Don't speak to her! Mom, don't speak to those kids ever again. They're not the best influence. My parents were obsessed with keeping me safe, watching over me 24/7 like I might get hurt the moment they looked away. Their overprotectiveness slowly became exhausting. And then one day, the weirdest thing happened. I went to sleep and I dreamt about having 9 siblings. Our house was so loud, but we seemed happy. We were always having fun and laughing. So much laughter. I had a brother named Drew, who was my biggest headache, but he was my biggest protector. In my dream, I was playing on the swing when suddenly a boy yanked the ropes and pushed me down. Ouch, my arm! I think it broke. Oh, that's going to leave a scar.
Hey, how dare you push my sister?
And boom, he raised his voice and shoved the boy aside. Then, with a glare fixed on the boy, his fist clenched tightly, as if ready to land a thunderous punch.
Apologize to her right now. I'm sorry, please, I won't do it again. Come on, Mimi, let's go home.
He held my hand tightly, and together we walked home. It was the warmest, happiest feeling I'd felt in a long time. And then my mom's voice pulled me from sleep. As I opened my eyes, her face was filled with concern. Hey, sweetie, are you okay? You're sweating. I had the strangest dream. And I told Mom about my dream. Gosh, that sounds like a nightmare. No, Mom, it felt real. Too real to be a dream. Do I have a brother called Drew? What? No. You have no siblings. After I had you, I didn't want anyone else. So I could focus on loving just you. It's just a dream. But then it got weirder. I looked at my arm and saw the scar from my dream. I jumped from my bed and screamed, "The scar! I got it in my dream! There was a bully and Drew and—" Stop! I don't know what you're talking about. You got that scar as a baby from a nasty fall. I think you're having a fever. I will get you some medicine. My mom tried to make me feel like everything was fine, but nothing felt fine. I always felt incomplete. Like, reading an incomplete story. And to make it worse, I kept dreaming about that family every night. But they didn't feel like dreams. They felt like memories. The more questions I asked, the weirder my parents got. One morning, I woke up and found them screwing all our doors and windows shut. What's going on?
Oh, nothing, honey. Just trying to protect you from those weird dreams you keep having.
What? That doesn't make any sense. Nothing made sense. And every time I tried to make sense of it, a terrible headache stopped me. The headaches were so bad that I eventually gave up trying to understand anything. But one morning, I looked in the mirror and saw myself in a different house. It looked just like the one in my dreams. But I wasn't dreaming. I was awake. I couldn't ignore it any longer. I had to search for answers. All the doors were locked, except one. When I finally went in, oh my God! I found photos of me with the people from my dreams. All happy moments, arguments, laughter. That's when I knew they were real.
Congratulations! The experiment has been successful. The subject's memories have been completely reshaped.
What? And then I passed out. When I woke up, I was neatly tucked in bed, but I'd figured it out. This world wasn't real. I remembered the lab. I remembered the pod. I remembered the helmet. Everything gradually became clear in my mind. I immediately started yanking at the helmet.
System locked. Subject has not completed the experiment.
No! Leave me alone! I don't want this anymore! I want to go home!
Honey, what's going on?
Get away from me! You're not real! I want my real family! What are you talking about? You are our child. Our only child. No, I'm not! Get me out of here!
Now you are being disrespectful. We are going to lock you in here until you come to your senses and apologize to your mom and me.
Let me out! This is all my fault. I wished for this. I'm sorry, Mom, Dad, and everyone. I miss all of you. Even Drew. I don't wish I was an only child anymore. I felt defeated. I had screamed, scratched, and begged for hours, but help wasn't coming. I lay on the bed and cried, and then I heard the most curious thing.
Mimi! Where are you, doo-doo head?
Honey, please, we're so sorry. It was coming from outside my window. Drew? Mom? I'm in here! Over here! I started to scream back, but they couldn't hear me, even though their voices still rang clearly in my ears. In a desperate moment, I jumped out the window, just to break free of this prison. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a room that felt both unfamiliar and oddly familiar at the same time. Where am I?
Hello, Mimi. Congratulations on completing.
I didn't let that devil man complete his sentence. I ran out of there as fast as I could. I had no idea where I was going. I just knew I had to get out of there. By the time I finally came to my senses, night had already fallen. I had only been gone for a few hours, but it felt like I'd spent a lifetime trapped in that twisted nightmare. And then, in the distance, I saw Drew rushing toward me. Drew! I'm so sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I don't hate you. I don't...
I know. We're really sorry. Everyone's been looking for you.
I'm so happy to see you.
Come on. Let's go home. Hang on. Where were you? Everyone's been looking for you.
I'll tell you later. And then, hand in hand, we happily walked home. It felt so good to have a place I could truly call home. Even if the chaos could be a little overwhelming at times, I had missed it more than I ever imagined. Hello guys, today I
introduce you to my clingy little sister.
And also super annoying brother. The me too! Sorry guys, life in a big family tends to be a little chaotic. And then we all burst into laughter behind the camera. Having so many siblings wasn't so bad after all. Having someone by my side is one of life's true blessings.
Wow! This place was like a life-size dollhouse. It was huge and whoa! Was that a whirlpool bath? I was in heaven. Slow down, dear. OMG! You even have an indoor badminton court? I love badminton! This was the most amazing house ever! Hey, I'm Helen, and I grew up in a normal house with a normal family. I love my parents. And life was great and all, but the one downside was the long journey to my new high school. My mom, Grace, said she had the answer to this and suggested I go and stay with my Aunt Lucy, as she lived closer to the school. Okay, so I'd never met Lucy before. Actually, until Mom mentioned her, I didn't even know I had an aunt. Mom explained that Aunt Lucy moved to Canada for business and had only returned to the U.S. recently. This was the first time I had to live so far away from my parents, so I was kind of worried I'd get homesick. But one advantage was my bestie, Madeline, lived right nearby. Awesome, right? Besides, this place was dope. I couldn't stop gawking at that badminton court. Seriously, it was bigger than my house. Aunt Lucy, I guess you must really like badminton. Yes, many people think it's just a backyard game, but it's a true sport to me. Wow, it was a rarity to meet someone with the same tastes as me. We chatted for ages about our interests. Lucy was so easy to talk to, and I honestly felt like I'd known her for years. I would love to become a pro badminton player, but Mom thinks I should keep it as a hobby and find a more stable career. I see, but don't let others discourage you. The true passion is worth pursuing. Let me arrange a training schedule for you. Now, try this. Oh, how do you know I like lobster linguine? At first, living with Lucy was like being in a dream world. She pampered me, bought me clothes I wanted, and cooked the most delicious dishes. But beneath the shine, there was also a darker side. Lucy was super strict. I mean, major general level strict. I had to wake up at 5 a.m. each morning for training, run laps of it for an hour, and hit 50 shuttlecocks over the net in a row. If I missed one, I had to start over again. Meanwhile, I still had to keep up with my homework, and I couldn't go and meet my friends on the weekend or do anything without asking Lucy for permission first. At least at school, I could vent to Maddie about it. I expected her to agree with me, but she shrugged and said, I guess your aunt just wants the best for you. Besides, your badminton skills have improved loads. If I could live in a luxurious house, eat delicious food with such a caring aunt, I'd so put up with a grueling training schedule. Yeah, I guess she's right. Maybe I should be more grateful. Of course, on finding out about the school badminton club, I immediately signed up for it. I was walking over to the court, swinging my racket about and ready to show off my skills when these two guys approached me. Go back to the cheerleading team where you belong, sweetie. Leave the court for the real pros. How dare these idiots judge me like this? They hadn't even seen me play. Oh yeah? I challenge you to a game. Then we'll see who's serious. We're the best players in the school, just so you know. Pick one. Suddenly, another guy appeared next to me and said, then let's play doubles. Oh my god, he's Tyler, the best badminton player in the whole school. I've heard all about his reputation and seen photos of him with a trophy in the school newsletter, but I've never met him before. Surprisingly, he's even cuter in person. Pfft, you can defeat us in singles, but can you cover that useless girl in a duo match? That's it. Scoot over. Let me show you what this useless girl can do. The game started and instantly, Tyler and I vibed on the court and were hitting the shuttlecocks at lightning speed. We won in straight sets, and those losers looked so bummed out. Tyler seemed super impressed. And then, good game, Helen. Do you want to hang out again? How about tomorrow? We could go get some food. Mamma mia! How can I say no to that? But when I told Aunt Lucy, she didn't take it so well. Love may seem appealing, but it's a waste of time and energy that will lead to a decline in your badminton abilities. Your grades, your mood, everything. You're too immature to deal with those type of emotions right now. This was ridiculous. I wasn't a little kid. I was perfectly capable of making my own decisions and following my own feelings. He's a sweet guy who helped me out. Of course he did. All guys appear nice at first. Maybe if you just gave him a chance. Wake up, Helen, and stop yourself from throwing away your dreams for some boy. Ugh, it was no use. My aunt was too stubborn to listen. I stormed up to my room, feeling frustrated. No way was I letting my aunt's strictness ruin things with my dream guy. So I decided to sneak out to meet Tyler. But how? I know exactly the person who can help. Matt's red code. Aunt Lucy won't let me see Tyler. Please help me distract her. Okay, but only if you get me a signed copy of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Easy peasy. After that day, I was able to go on multiple dates with Tyler, all thanks to Maddie's help. She always came up with the most convincing excuses, like I was going to her house for group study or we were going to a super important event. Then one time when I was supposed to study at home, it was actually Maddie pretending to be me. Later, I sneaked back into my room, all giddy. You wouldn't believe how great our date was today. But Maddie just gave this awkward look. What's up? Did my aunt suspect something? No, everything's fine. Then she immediately climbed out of the window. Strange. But the next day she acted like nothing had happened, so I let it slide. She must have just felt unwell or something. Meanwhile, things with Tyler were getting better and better. After a romantic date, we walked home, and suddenly Tyler stopped me, looking all shy and nervous. Helen, I really like you, and I like spending time with you. Be my girlfriend, will you? OMG! This was the best thing that had ever happened to me! I flung my arms around him and yelled out of my lungs, yes! When I finally let go of him, out of nowhere, a kid on roller skates bumped into me and sent me tumbling into the road. A car zoomed toward me, and before I could process anything, Tyler sprinted forward and pushed me away. When I opened my eyes, he was lying there unconscious. I panically called an ambulance and went with him to the hospital. As I sat in the waiting room with floods of tears, I was so scared and didn't know what to do that I ended up calling Aunt Lucy. Only a few minutes later, I saw her hurrying toward me, looking dead serious. Helen, what have I told you? You lied to me to hang out with a boy? I had no heart to argue about that and immediately burst into a fresh bout of tears. It's my fault. Tyler risked his life to save me, and now he's hurt. Aunt Lucy's demeanor softened and she pulled me in closer. After a while of consoling me, she finally opened up and shared a story I didn't expect. Actually, I fell in love when I was around your age, but he betrayed me. I just don't want you to be hurt like that. Oh, that's terrible. But Tyler is a good guy. I just know he is. He saved me. And for that, I'm truly grateful. Okay, I'll trust your judgment and give you my blessing to get to know him further. Thank you. Right then, the doctor appeared and told us that Tyler was all right and he would make a full recovery in a few days. Thank goodness. When Tyler was back, Aunt Lucy stuck to her word and gave me and him a chance together. She even offered to give both of us a badminton lesson. Brace yourself for the craziest training routine ever. But practicing with Tyler made it actually bearable and a lot more fun. I had a big competition coming up, which could get me the professional player title and a chance to join the national team if I won. So I needed all the training I could get. Just one more step away from my greatest dream. Also, I couldn't contain my smile when seeing Lucy gradually warmed up to Tyler. My big day finally came. Mom and Dad were here to support me as well. I excitedly got ready, but when I opened the kit bag, what happened? Oh no! Who's destroyed our babies? I think Lucy might have done it. Why on earth would she do that? I overheard her saying that she was only pretending to like Tyler so she could keep an eye on you both. What? I honestly believe that Aunt Lucy was actually giving Tyler a chance. But it still didn't make any sense. Even if Lucy hated Tyler, why would she try to ruin this competition? She knew how much it meant to me. There's one more thing, but I don't think you're ready to hear it. Gosh, just spill the beans, Maddie! Actually, the day I disguised as you, I found something out. Lucy's not your aunt. She's your mom. She wants to take you back to Canada with her, and she knows if you won this contest, then you'd never want to leave. I stood there in complete shock. So, my beloved family I'd known all these years wasn't actually mine? And Lucy, how come she had the brazenness to show up now as my real mother and wanted to take me back? I felt like my whole life had been one big lie and immediately rushed to find Lucy. Is it true? You're my real mom? How did you know? I can't believe you did that to me! You're selfish, terrible, and ruined everything! Go away! I don't want to see you anymore! I don't have a mom like you! Grace is my one and only mother! Lucy looked completely broken, then quietly left. I was shaking in anger and pain when a gentle hand laid on my shoulder. Helen, sweetie, I know it's hard to take it in. Trust me, this was difficult for us all. You all lied to me! How could you just agree to send me off to her? You never consider me as your real daughter, do you? Don't think silly, honey. We love you so much and never want to let you go, unless it's better for you. Then Mom told me how Lucy came and persuaded her. Turned out, Lucy had a very tragic past. Since childhood, she'd always been the black sheep in her family. They treated her poorly and despised her badminton passion. Then when she told them she was pregnant, they threw her out. And her boyfriend also ditched her right after that. So she had no choice but to leave me at the orphanage and begin a new life in Canada. After countless hardships, she finally became successful. And all she desired was to reconnect with me. I believe everyone deserves a second chance. That's why I let you two live together for a while. Only if you're happy, I would tell you the truth, so you wouldn't be too shocked. Besides, she can help you more than me now. Hey, you even inherited her badminton spirit. I was stunned for a while. It's true that Lucy left me, but that's because she didn't want me to suffer with her. And I indeed had a happy life. I shouldn't be so rude to her, but it was still a lot to digest, so I went home with Mom. I shut myself away until the next day. Tyler came and tried to convince my gloomy self to go for a walk. I know that's a lot, but I think you should make up with Lucy. Why are you still on her side? She only pretended to be nice to you, and she ruined the contest just to take me away from this perfect life. We can find our chance in plenty of other competitions, but there's only one Lucy. She's your biological mother, and it's fine to be mad with her, but you should never reject her. My mind wandered back to all the happy moments I'd had with Lucy, our interesting chat, the delicious meals she cooked, and the times we played badminton together. She even had a special room to store badminton equipment, especially the rackets. Wait, Lucy treasured badminton rackets. If she simply wanted to stop us from competing in the contest, then she could have just hidden our rackets or pretended that the car broke down. But she would never destroy the rackets like that. Ty, do you remember who else handled our rackets that day? I'm not sure. I think Madeline had them at some point. So, could it be Maddie? But why? She had no reason to do that. She was my best friend and always supported me to play badminton. I stormed over to Maddie's house, but she's arguing with her dad on the doorstep.
You useless, pathetic rascal! Go then, I don't care.
Maddie ran off in tears, and I followed her to an alley. Seeing her like that made some of my anger toward her fade. Hey, what's going on? Maddie seemed surprised to see me. She tried to dodge some of my questions at first, but seeing nowhere to hide, she finally confessed. My mom left me to that alcoholic dad who does nothing but shout at me all day. You have two moms who love you, and I don't even have one. I was angry at Lucy because, to me, all of the moms who gave up their child are heartless and deserve no forgiveness. She even wanted to take you to Canada. I couldn't lose you too. The fear and jealousy got the better of me, so I broke your rackets, then blamed Lucy. I'm so sorry. This sounds tough, but you still shouldn't have done it. I'm always here to listen to you, and I'm not moving anywhere. You're stuck with me. When Maddie felt better, I took her to my home and intended to find Lucy to apologize.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I'm the only child of two genius-level humans who were probably solving quantum physics on their honeymoon. Naturally, they expected their kid to be just like them. Spoiler alert, I'm not. I wasn't just bad at school, I was on the honor roll of failure. My biggest enemy was math. Somehow, it always found the most humiliating ways to expose me. Like one time when I went on a date with a cute guy who liked me and went to get some ice cream.
I'll get a Rocky Road. What about you?
Cookies and cream. But don't even think about paying. I've got this. When I gave the vendor $4 bills, he started staring at me like I was a green-horned alien.
Total's $8. You gave me 4.
Wait, so I don't get change? As the vendor grew impatient, my date just gaped at me in disbelief.
Are you kidding me? Change? You're short another $4, miss.
Oh, right. I was just testing your maths. You passed. No one laughed with me. I felt so embarrassed when my date just pulled out his wallet and paid the rest of the money. Guess what happens after we got back from our date? He never talked to me again. And the same thing with all the guys I went out on dates with. Who wanted to be with a brain-dead girlfriend, right? If you got secondhand embarrassment from that incident, you'll probably faint from what happened at my parents' anniversary party, which I threw for them. Surprise! Happy 11th anniversary to the best parents in the world! I knew I had messed up somewhere when my parents looked like they were forcing themselves to smile. Tiffany, sweetie, we've been married for 17 years. No, you had me after you got married. I'm 17, so 11 years, right? I caught a few surprised glances, but I didn't pay them much attention.
Remember, we got married a year before you were born, sweetheart.
Oh, so it's actually your 1-year anniversary! The room exploded with laughter after I spoke, but my parents just face-palmed, unable to hide their disappointment. Once again, I became the punchline of the joke, right in front of everyone. My parents still love me, I think, but they argue a lot, especially when grades drop, which is always.
John, we have to face it. Tiffany's just not smart. At this rate, she could never graduate from high school.
Don't say that. She needs help, not insults. Maybe if you were around more.
Oh, please, you could tutor her yourself if you're so concerned. My job is as important as yours.
Maybe I will. Or maybe we find someone her age. Someone she can relate to.
Yay, another tutor. Can't wait. In my lifetime, I've had about 30 different tutors, and it ended badly each time with the tutors getting frustrated, me not learning anything, and my parents getting angrier at me. I was so upset about my parents' decision that I went to visit the care home. I loved to be around old people and dreamed of having an old people's home when I grew up. Something about them gave me an inner peace I couldn't explain. But most importantly, my grandparents lived there and always knew what to say to cheer me up. Your mom told us about the tutor. She's just trying to help, sweetheart. I don't know. I'm just tired of everyone acting like my entire personality is failing. You're more than your grades, Tiff. Just keep an open heart. You never know what good might come from simply being willing. I took Grandma's words with a pinch of salt, but I had no idea how true those words would be. I went to school the following week with Grandma's voice echoing in my head, and that's when I saw him. Ryan, my high school heartthrob. He was so smart that he graduated from high school 2 years ago at 15. But why was he here? I got my answer the moment Mr. Conrad, our math teacher, dropped a bombshell.
I spoke with your parents about your grades. I know you're trying, but it's not enough, so I've set you up with a tutor. It's someone I think you'll respond to well.
I could guess who he was talking about before he even finished.
Ryan Carter has agreed to help you catch up before final exams.
I tried to act all cool about the news, but inside I was squealing like a K-pop fangirl. At first, I was totally against getting yet another tutor, but who would have guessed it'd be Ryan? I did a full 180 the moment I saw him. On the first day, I prepared as if it were a date and not a study session. Okay, don't say anything weird, smile, sit straight, and maybe don't look at him too long. In my head, our study session was going to be perfect, with me staring at his dreamy eyes while he gently made me finally get the deal with math. But I was in for a shock. He showed up 40 minutes late and didn't even apologize.
Hey.
Hi, come in. He didn't even spare me a glance, even after all the time I spent getting ready. But maybe he just hadn't noticed. Yet. Still, I kept smiling and led him to the study table, ready to start what I hoped would be my dream session.
So, what's your problem with math?
Mostly quadratic equations and some word problems. Actually, almost everything.
Right, okay. Here's the basic formula. Just plug in the right values and you'll be fine. Study the sample and solve this.
Wait, was he serious? He didn't even bother to ask if I understood him. And for almost 30 minutes, I just sat there frozen, my head spinning with thoughts. It was far from what I had imagined. Ryan wasn't the sweet kind of tutor I imagined in my head, and I didn't have the guts to tell him his teaching method was crass. And instead of solving the equation, I absentmindedly doodled all over the page. So when Ryan asked for the answer, all I could do was hand him the sketch-covered paper and brace myself for a scolding. But then Ryan did something so unexpected, it flipped my surprise into full-blown anger. What are you doing?
That should wake you up. Start focusing more on our lesson.
I thought maybe he would be better at other tutor sessions, but he wasn't. And I didn't want to tell my parents because they'd fire him on the spot. So I sucked it up. But one day he did something that pushed me over the edge. It was a Sunday, and I had just boarded a train to go visit my grandparents at a care home when I spotted Ryan sitting on the train too, and an old woman trying to talk to him. "Excuse me, young man, may I sit here?" What Ryan did next really shocked me.
I got here first.
He puts the earbud back in and leans back like nothing happened. The lady wobbles slightly as the train jerks forward. That's it. Are you serious right now? All eyes on the train turned my way, even Ryan's. I stormed toward him, fire in my steps. You're really gonna sit here while a woman old enough to be your grandma clutches a pole like she's on a roller coaster?
I don't owe her anything.
I see now. You're just a horrible person, a horrible tutor, and a horrible human. Does it thrill you when you treat other people like trash? Get up, now! With everyone on the train throwing nasty glances his way, like he was the devil, Ryan had no choice but to cooperate. Thank you, dear. You're welcome. Sorry about him. That was the first time I snapped at him. I didn't plan to. But at that moment, I couldn't stand being silent anymore. When he failed to show up after school the following Monday, I thought he had quit and his tutoring was over. But the following day, I was surprised when he came. Ryan?
Yeah. Can I come in?
Even though I was still mad at Ryan for what happened, I had to admit that I missed him.
About that Sunday. I was a jerk. You were right. I don't usually get called out like that.
You weren't nice to her, but I was a bit too harsh too. I've got friends and grandparents her age. So when you spoke to her like that, I just snapped. You wouldn't get it unless you had someone like that close to you.
Actually, I do. I live with my grandma and take care of her alone. My parents passed away and I can't afford a care home or college. That's why I took this job. And 5 others.
My heart broke for him. He was working around the clock to take care of his grandma. No wonder he was always so cranky. I'm so sorry for assuming you were just a jerk. Can't you apply for the scholarship or something? I really thought you would be halfway through college by now.
You think I haven't tried? I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I always get rejected. So funding myself through is the way to go. If I can get enough funds, that is.
Don't stop hoping. I'm sure you'll get there one day. Just take one step at a time.
Thanks, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being such a crappy tutor. I'll try harder. If you'll still let me.
I wasn't sure I would be able to get better at math either way, but I was willing to give it a second chance. And I was glad I did. After that day, tutoring sessions with Ryan became better. He always explained it so well.
Solve the equation. 1/2 equals x over 6. What's the value for x?
I have no idea.
You'll have to bake, don't you? Great. Now think of it this way. If 1 spoonful of sugar is for 2 cups of flour, how many spoonfuls of sugar would go for 6 cups of flour?
3?
Exactly.
I never thought math could make sense until I saw it from a whole new angle. Pretty amazing, right? I was finally getting the hang of it. Ryan understood me. He made me realize I wasn't a blockhead. I just learned differently. Things have been looking up with my studies recently. A day before our final exams, I got so nervous I couldn't rest a bit, so I rushed to Ryan's house.
Tiffany, what are you doing here?
What if I mess this up, Ryan? My parents would never like me anymore. I would rather skip this final.
Don't stress too much, Tiff. Just do your best. Your parents are proud of you. And so am I.
I could feel my cheeks burning, but luckily, Ryan switched the topic right away.
You're in luck. My grandma's making a special soothing soup.
Ryan's grandma welcomed me with a sweet smile and a delicious-smelling soup. You're Ryan's girlfriend, right? Or dentist?
She's my student, Grandma.
Oh, how lovely. Eat up, sweetheart. This soup cures everything, except my memory. We both burst out laughing. and the warmth between us felt so comforting. Ryan's grandma's soup was hands down the best I'd ever tasted. I watched Ryan's grandma walk away, happily humming with her ladle, and I couldn't help but smile.
She forgets where her slippers are, but remembers everyone's favorite meal. Kind of like a soup-making oracle.
I've always wanted to open a care home, a place where people like her are safe, cared for, not forgotten.
Then you've got to pass, Tiff. You can't run a care home with charm and doodles. You need college. You need that degree.
I know. I just get so scared that I'll get an F.
Remember you once told me, never give up hope? Try and try again. I listened, and guess what? I was going to tell you this on your prom night, but I can't wait anymore. I got an offer letter from a university for a fully funded scholarship.
Congratulations, Ryan! But what about your grandma?
Since I won't be paying college fees, I just have to get a little more money to put her in the best care home around.
Seeing how Ryan's persistence finally paid off gave me the motivation to pour everything I'd practiced into the upcoming test, no matter the outcome. The atmosphere in the room grew hotter than ever. My determination wobbled when I saw the questions. I can do this. I didn't know every answer, but I didn't freeze. I did the ones I knew, then went back and tried the rest. The waiting period for my results was hell, but when they were finally uploaded, I didn't have a single F. They weren't A's and B's, and my math grade just narrowly got into the passing grade, but it was definitely enough to apply for college.
Well done, darling.
We are so proud of you. For the first time in my life, I truly felt seen by my parents. For once, I wasn't a disappointment. And that feeling, it was amazing. Something I hadn't felt in a very long time. My parents were so happy they threw me a party. They even brought my grandparents from the home to celebrate with us. But their best gift was what they had planned for Ryan. I couldn't help but blush when I saw him. Dressed in something other than his usual black, he was a whole different shade of gorgeous.
Great party, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't have done it without you.
She's right. We're truly grateful, Ryan. Tiffany mentioned you're trying to get your grandma into a home so you can focus on college? Yes, sir. It hasn't been easy, but I'm working on it.
Well, what would you think about moving her into the care home where my parents stay? It's the best in town. And don't worry, we'll cover the expenses. Ryan couldn't believe his ears.
I don't even know what to say.
Say yes before Mom changes her mind. A wave of relief hit me when he finally agreed.
Thanks so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Later, just as the party was dying down, I led Ryan away to somewhere it could be just the two of us.
Guess this is it. I'm out of a tutoring job.
I wanted to say something, but it felt like I had a lump in my throat that wouldn't let me. The air between us felt charged, heavy with things unsaid.
You were more than just a student, you know.
Good thing I'm hiring for a boyfriend then.
Is the position still open?
Only if you're okay with hard questions and late-night study dates.
I'm all in. Would it be okay if I gave you a hug?
I melted when he wrapped his arms around me. Everything felt right. I used to think that failing meant I wasn't good enough, but it just meant my journey would take a little longer and be a bit rougher. Making dreams come true doesn't belong to the smartest kids in class. It belongs to the one who refuses to quit.